Hey everyone, I'm Tsuboi, CNET.com. You're watching the Inside Scoop. My guest today is Josh Lowensohn, staff writer here at CNET. And Josh, we are talking about Apple's new mapping problem, a map flub, if you will. Today, Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, came out with an apology letter, sort of rare for the company to do. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it was a letter addressed directly to consumers saying, hey, you know what, we're sorry, this isn't up to snuff, but we're working on a fix. In the meantime, here are some other things you can use. What it didn't have is any sort of estimate about when Apple would actually kind of improve its own software.
So this is sort of the second ding on Tim Cook's record ever since he took over as CEO. That doesn't look good for him or for the company, and also shines a bit of a spotlight on the absence of Steve Jobs.
Sure. I mean, of course, there's going to be comparisons to what Apple used to do and the way it used to be. In the case of the earlier item, which is some of the stuff that was going on with China, that's more of an issue that he inherited. I mean, that was the way the company was running. But it was also, it was more intrinsic to that because he was the supply guy. All that stuff that was going on with parts and where they were coming from, that was his job before he took on CEO. Now that he's in this leadership position, everyone's looking to him in this situation because the buck stops here. You know, he is the guy who decides what ships at the end of the day, and they shipped a product that was inferior to what they had before.
Yeah, a product that really is still like in its beta stages. It has yet to be really tested in the public market.
Right, I think that's part of the problem is that they didn't call it a beta, nor could they really have. When you had something like Siri that came out last year, a lot of people found problems with it, but it was labeled as beta, so you understood that. This is a product that replaced something that was around for 7 years, tried and tested, had lots of good data, lots of good features, but you know what, it's not what it is anymore.
And just to get our viewers up to speed, this is Apple's own proprietary mapping that replaces Google mapping. And some of the problems are?
There were a lot of inaccuracies with locations. You know, we got all sorts of photos that people sent in to us where you would have something that was telling them to get off a freeway and there was no exit there. You had imagery that was old or outdated. And then when you looked at this compared to something on Google, you didn't have that problem. So inherently people go, well, I had this and it was working, why did you take it away? And I think that was compounded by the fact that Google doesn't actually have an app to replace it right now.
Well, people use their smartphones for the mapping. That's one of the top reasons why we want those devices. What are some solutions that CNET recommends in place of the mapping app that comes with your phone or iOS 6?
Sure. So there's a big list, and in fact Apple actually published a list, which is kind of comedic, for alternatives. So you have things like Waze, you have app from Motion X, you have stuff from Garmin. A lot of this stuff is free, but some of it isn't. Of course, if you want something that's a true alternative to Google, you're going to have to wait for the application to come. That's rumored to be coming later this year. But in the meantime, you can still get away with using Google in your browser. You can use Bing Maps. I mean, there's all sorts of solutions. That's probably the one benefit about all this is that there is this big app diversity that people have to fish from in the meantime.
Great. Thank you so much, Josh Lowensohn. I'm Tsuboi. You're watching the Inside Scoop on CNET.com.